2024, held today in Gallipore, Nullagine, which I declare open at 10:30 a.m. I take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank our hosts for making today's venue available to the Shire for this meeting. I acknowledge the traditional owners on the lands on which we meet today, the near Bali here, but the Palku people up in Nullagine, and their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. May I ask everyone present today to turn off and refrain from using their mobile phones for the duration of the meeting. Tablets and laptops are permitted for the purpose of accessing agenda items and notes. I advise all those in attendance that this meeting is audio recorded, which can be accessed by members of the public and the media, and council members should refrain from making any defamatory statements. The meeting is also being live streamed. Members of the public are advised that anyone who has any application lodged with the Shire of East Pilbara must obtain and should only rely on written confirmation of the outcome of the application and any conditions attached to the decision made by the Shire of East Pilbara in respect to the application. Attendance by electronic means, so requests to attend the meeting via virtual platform have been received from myself, Councillor Wendy McWhirter-Brooks, Councillor Lee Anderson, Councillor Peter Bear, Councillor David Everett, Councillor David Cooler and Councillor Lou Lockyer, which are approved by Mayor Shire President in accordance with Regulation 14C, the Local Government Administration Regulations of 1996. As written, we have the record of attendances and apologies and a leave of absence. Moving on to item 4, disclosure of interest. Are there any disclosure of interest to be made in relation to any of today's agenda items? Yes, Mr. Locker.
I've got two. I've got one for 12.1.1 and 12.1.2.
Excellent, thank you. And Councillor McWhirter-Brooks.
12.1.3, please.
And for myself, 12.1.1 and 12.1.3.
Thank you. Moving on to item 5, declarations by council members to have given due consideration to all matters contained in the business papers before the meetings. Councillor McWhirter-Brooks.
I have considered the papers before this meeting. Sorry, I don't have the script in front of me. I've given due consideration of all matters contained in the business papers before this meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Anderson.
I've given due consideration to all matters contained in the business papers before this meeting.
Councillor Everett.
I've given due consideration to all matters contained in the business papers before this meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Annabelle Laney.
I have given consideration to all matters continuing in the business paper before the meeting.
Councillor Landy, can you hear us?
They're on mute.
No.
Josh is on mute.
Josh, you're on mute, mate.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have given the consideration to all matters continuing in the business paper before the meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Lockyer.
I've given due consideration to all matters contained in the business papers before the meeting.
Councillor Bear.
I have given due consideration to all matters contained in the business papers before this meeting.
Councillor Cooler.
I've given due consideration to all matters contained in the business papers before the meeting.
Thank you. Just confirming Councillor Chapman is not around or not coming yet. Okay. So I too have given due consideration to all matters that are contained in today's business papers before this meeting. Moving on to item 6, response to previous questions taken on notice. So question taken on notice on 24 May 2024, the OCM, during the discussions of item 12.2.1, the monthly financial statements, insurance and investment report, April 2024, at the 24 May 2024 Ordinary Council meeting, a question was taken on notice concerning unallocated rates, which stands at 11% of the total, and whether they are due to billing issues or unpaid. Response from Acting Director Corporate Services, the 11% uncollected rates are the portion of the rates levied that Council is yet to receive payment for. It should be noted that both the Newman Estate and Curra Estate have significant unpaid rates and arrears balances that are included in the overall percentage, and the Council has commenced proceedings to recover these outstanding balances. Are Council satisfied with the response? Yes. Yes. Thank you. Moving on to item 7, public question time. So we have questions from members of the public. So if there's, if you'd like to, please come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the minutes. You may ask 3 questions, and if there are no further questions from the public, then you may put further questions to council. Please also complete the public participation form and provide it to the Shire staff. So who is up first?
Gail Taffa, 8 Howard Road, Nullagine. My first question is, who is responsible for the road maintenance at Irrigudgy?
Okay, essentially that whole Irrigangee area is primarily owned by the Lands Trust. There is so I just looked at that first. The Oval area, there is a management order which our name is attached to, but that road really does fit within the trust itself. I do think what probably needs to happen there, I'm aware there's some quite big potholes starting to form. It does need some attention, but it needs a little bit more than just filling up the holes too, because they're just going to regouge. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Is that what you're talking about, to be clear?
In 2019, the road maintenance was excised out of the lease. We're just wanting to know who is responsible for the upkeep of the road now.
Okay. Well, we'll take it. If we can take that question on notice, because it's a bit of a them or us question, and certainly it does, some attention needs to be given to it. But we're happy to take that question on notice and see what we can get done about it. But we may need to talk to the trust about that component of it, or the Department of Communities or others, to get this moving, because yeah, it does need some attention. So if I can take that question on notice, we'll get back to you with what the action is, if that's okay.
Okay. And I guess just for clarity as well, who is responsible, you've actually answered part of this question, who is responsible for the managing of the Crown land at Irrigudgy, which being the oval, the footy oval, and the river access road at the back of Irrigudgy?
We can probably talk to the oval more than the other part. We can chase that bit. And we just need to do a land map search. But in relation to the oval, there is a management order, which we do have. We haven't done a lot of maintenance on that particular oval, to be honest, but hasn't been a real call for it either. So it's one of those things. We are talking to some other parties about the future of that oval and potential funding that might make it a bit more than what it is. But we've got a little way to go on that at this point before I can give you too much more on us actually getting in there doing maintenance. It's not on our radar to go and do maintenance on that oval at this point. It's just really a very big, large dirt patch at the moment. It's a little bit unlevel. We appreciate that, and to do major works on there would be something we'd need to consider a bit more seriously.
Cool. Thank you. I think you've answered my third question in answering the first two. Appreciate that.
Okay, no problem. Next up, please.
My name is Rico Tovey, and I live in the Irrigudgy community. Is the swimming pool going to be ready at Christmas time?
Thanks for your question. Very brave of you to ask a question with all these adults in the room, so good on you. I'd love to say it'll be open for Christmas, but the reality of it is it probably won't be. We're working as fast as we can on all the different aspects of the pool. The only last bit, which is on our critical path, is the actual building purchases. And we're working very closely with the contractors. They're very hard to get buildings because everyone wants them. And at this stage, it's probably looking at early January, February would be probably the best that we might be able to achieve. But certainly we're pushing every little thing we can to make that earlier. And we'll obviously still be working with the contractors to try and bring that forward. So to make ours a little more urgent than other projects. But unfortunately, if we'll aim for Christmas, just so you can get in, but reality is it's probably going to be the early new year.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions there? Still can't hear you, Biddy.
This is Biddy
Yes.
at Nullagine. Referring to the meeting that we had a couple of months ago, what is the news about the pool?
In relation to the pool?
It seems to have stopped.
No, yeah, okay. So, no, there's definitely things happening. Well, I'll get you to talk about the different stages on the way through, but as I was saying earlier, the critical one is the actual building itself. That's going to be the hold-up. But Anthony, do you want to speak to the other things you're doing?
So we have had the bricks for the paving being delivered. The shade sales is going up middle of July. The buildings is on order, and we're just working through some compliance issues with the getting the energy efficiency ratings correct. And as the CEO has mentioned, we're aiming for hopefully for Christmas, but likely with all the other things that has to follow, it might be around about early 2025. Some of the work cannot be done before the other bits have been delivered, so we don't want to put paving all the way down and then have a heavy trucks driving over it. So we have to schedule these works to follow in the most construction methodology that makes the most sense.
Just for young chap that mentioned, that asked a question about the pool, what we will give you before Christmas will be the rage cage. So we'll give you something to do over Christmas. Any other questions, Biddy?
Yes. Any news on the road from, the main road? I know it's main road's problem, but any news other than starting in July, August?
So I did have a conversation only this week, anticipating this question because it's been on our mind. We are certainly chasing it. They are still saying September. And it is subject to obviously getting some line approvals and bits and pieces, but that being said, they're still saying September very strongly, and that's coming from both main roads and from Atlas Iron. So they're both saying the same day. So touch wood, but like all things video, we see it when we see it, and I really am hoping it is September. It's going to make a big difference to the region.
Okay, thank you. Skull Springs Road's been discussed. Now, the typical question of the fence around the airport.
Yes.
Has that started?
Yeah, so we have an item going up, so I can talk to that event. So we have, in relation to the fence itself, even though we don't require a fence around the airport, we have actually put money in the budget to do some repairs. We've done a thorough inspection of the perimeter fence, and we could do some clean up there. Probably about half or a quarter of it needs to be redone, but we're certainly budgeting for a complete redo of the fence line. We have spoken to, and I guess this alludes to the RFDS issue. I have been talking to RFDS around their procedures and practices. They certainly don't meet what I would call minimum safety requirements. They don't do flyovers. They were very lucky to get away with what they did in this particular case. So I have elevated the concern of an CASA-approved airport or landing strip to be landed upon without doing a flyover is not appropriate, or a person going out onto the airstrip to make sure that it's safe at night time specifically. So we certainly take no further, but we are going to the fence. The fence is not a guarantee that there will not be animals on the
runway, and there is a bit of pilot responsibility attached to that. So, but certainly we do acknowledge, and it was raised at the electors meeting about the fence, and we have put in the budget so that we can do it, and it will be done as quick as we can achieve it after the budget's been adopted, potentially today.
Well, I'm very surprised that the RFDS came in this Tuesday. It's still subject to cows wandering.
Okay, so essentially, when I spoke to the operations guy at RFDS, they've had 48 flights this year. They were very comfortable with day flights. Where the issue is night flights. So basically they're taking 50-50 chance that there is animals, kangaroos, cows or whatever on the runway because no one's checking them, and they don't do a flyover to frighten any animals away potentially. So there's two different issues there. If I can say the bit, one is that they do a check during the day and they can physically see whether there's animals on there. But during the night, they do not do that checking, and we are certainly looking at the procedures they follow. And it's their call, it's their operation, but we are concerned and are talking to them about that.
Right. That's all my questions, actually. That's it.
Thank you, Biddy. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on to item 8, petitions, deputations and presentations. So we've received a request from Mark Keane, Managing Director, Australian Capital Management, to present deputation to Council in relation to the development application for Oasis, which is being considered at item 12.4.1. Mark, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Firstly, we on the screen? We're on the screen. Great call not to drive to Nullagine today. Been very wet, so thanks for putting us onto Teams, which is really good. My first, if I can, there's a lot of information that we've sent through, and I don't propose to go through it. Apart from the cover letter that I've provided to councillors, and also the slide that I've got here. Firstly, I would like to thank Malcolm Summers for the time and effort that he's put into preparing his report. In conclusion, he's recommending that the DA amendment be adopted. In summary, the DA amendment is about extending our car park and also the improvements to the Great Northern Highway and the entrance to Oasis, which has been given conditional approval by Main Roads. The net result of everything is that there is one clause, one condition rather, in the agenda which we need to focus on, and it concerns the clause surrounding the completion of the car park and the widening and extensions to the main road. Because there is no trigger to the council. I'm not specifically certain what a trigger means, but I sort of understand that it's no commitment or of any form, I suppose, to the council for the requirement to undertake the works. This was only clarified about 6 o'clock last night from an email from Malcolm. However, we do have a significant commitment to Main Roads to undertake this works in the form of two things. The first is a bond, $50,000 bond in two parts. One being a performance guarantee, and the second part being one being a performance bond. The second part being a guarantee to Main Roads after 12 months that the work that's undertaken is actually of a suitable standard. We also have a deed, a legal deed, spelling out the requirements that we have to undertake to meet Main Roads, I suppose, standards, and the fact that we will undertake the work and complete the works. So we have conditional approval from Main Roads. We have a recommendation from Malcolm that the amended DA be supported, of course, which we're in agreement with. It's just this one clause around trigger. Now, if I can, I'd just like a quick background about Oasis for everybody concerned. Some people know us, some people don't. Basically, we've been around since 2013, and we feel that we've become a significant business within Newman. Our current DA is about extending the amount, building the amount of rooms that we have, new rooms. We have a couple of pictures there on the slide. If we can flick to the next slide, please, Joshua. That would be good. These are our new rooms that are going in. They, the ones in the pictures there will be trying to lodge next week an application for occupancy. And if we can flick, they're of a very high standard. My point is, these are hotel standard accommodation that we're bringing to Newman. There's about 230 of them. There we go. Pictures of the inside. So just for your reference, large screen TVs, really well insulated and nice rooms, if you like. If you have a look at the bathrooms there, exceptionally well appointed. These rooms are of a really good standard, really high standard. Okay, it's not the Ritz-Carlton or anything like that, but it's probably the best standard that we have in the Pilbara. Next slide, please, Joshua. A little bit of background for you as to where it's come from and perhaps why we're looking at this. This is our initial DA that we got in at the end of June last year. Our initial DA required us to, sorry, let me go back a step. The issue has always been the red circle down at the bottom left-hand corner, the entrance to Oasis. And the reason why it's been an issue is because BHP have power poles that have a wire stay to hold up the power poles that is anchored to the ground about 1.5 meters off the bitumen. It's been a safety issue that's been there for decades, and it's a real problem for all concerned, particularly Oasis. And I think all parties are in agreement with the safety concerns that wire stay to the power pole presents, et cetera, and everything about entry and access to Oasis surrounds that. What initially, when this DA was put in, we could not get BHP, any undertakings from BHP to give to Main Roads to move the power poles. What has changed is that BHP, through our negotiations, have decided to make that change. So initially, with our DA that we're looking here, we had to have alternative access to the north, which is in the large red circle. Okay. Now, that alternative access crosses over an easement that runs along the side of our boundary for the block at the rear. This easement does not have connection to Great Northern Highway and will not receive connection because there's no adequate points of separation. This is according to Main Roads. As a result, we have to cross over that easement to have our alternative access, which Lot 69 has refused. So this all crystallised in about April of this year, and we had to, if you like, negotiate with BHP and Main Roads to get some amendment to to our front access down in the bottom red circle. So the amended DA is all about the works for main roads. And then on top of that, in the process, we're looking at the car parking, which is the bottom left-hand corner here. And I just decided that, hey, look, if we're doing work on the car park, we should really extend it out to the balance of that land that was in the bottom left-hand corner for a whole bunch of reasons. Joshua, can you flick to the next slide, please? Okay, so there in the bottom left-hand corner, next to the red circle, you can see the amended car park that we're putting in place, which is around large buses and small buses and rigid trucks and also longer trucks, which might be semi-trailers. We now have a policy that we will not be accepting any road trains into the facility for parking. Even though we are allowed to have road trains into the property, we are only going to have road trains for fuel and freight, basically. So that's our own internal policy, if you like. And as I say, it's recommended for approval in relation to the car park and also the roadworks at the bottom here. Joshua, can you... okay, so just a little bit more background about Oasis for everybody, and I don't want to harp on this at all. So the first aspect is the BHP power poles been safety issues for a long time, decades in fact. Main roads wouldn't allow us to have any further traffic unless BHP wire stays were removed. The original DA required alternative access to the north, which I just discussed. Initially, this was approved by DPLH in a meeting. However, Lot 69 would not allow the crossover, hence our work to get our original access expanded, which is what we're talking about today. We successfully negotiated with BHP to move those wires and the power poles, so they have an active plan that they're undertaking currently to do that. And Main Roads then approved Oasis to include additional slip lanes and turn-off lanes off Great Northern Highway, making the whole process of ingress and egress far safer. So effectively, between BHP and ourselves, we've resolved that safety issue at the front. Main Roads, as a result, have required us to provide a $50,000 performance guarantee and a legal deed of undertaking to complete the works. And this is where we're getting to today in terms of the council. What we want to do is request the council approve the amended DA, but exclude the condition that occupancy of our new buildings cannot be granted until completion of the final works and the front entrance and the car park. Now, under our current DA, we have been working on that basis, and we are about to lodge certificates or application to get occupancy shortly, probably in the next week or two. And it's on the basis that we can use our current car parks and then subsequently complete the works to our car parks and the entrance. It is that part that has changed. So the effect of that is that the use of that accommodation, which BHP are relying on for their various projects, including the Western Ridge project, that will be delayed for a period of about 6 to 9 months. So that is the issue that we're asking you to decide on today. The effect of that, or one aspect of that, is we consider we have a significant trigger point to complete the works with Main Roads, the performance guarantee and the legal deed. And there we go. Actually, that's a double up, isn't it? we request that the condition be amended as part of the approval process. Now, just on that aspect, this trigger, we were unaware of this trigger point. The first that we saw of it was when it went into Malcolm's report to the council. And so we haven't had a chance to work out what this trigger point may be, or what requirements we may have to put into place for council purposes, not main roads purposes. Main roads are satisfied, or we have no understanding of what this may mean. So the proposal that I'm also putting forward at this point in time is that if council require a commitment from Oasis as part of the approval process, I'm happy to give a legal deed exactly the same as what I've given to main roads, or what's been approved to be signed off with main roads, exactly the same deed, but in favour of the council. I have no issues with that. But at this point in time, there has been no discussion between Oasis or the council about what a trigger point may mean or require. Okay, but I'm open to discussion. Personally, I don't think a trigger point should be required because we already have those legal undertakings and performance bonds in place to commit the work. So there's no question about whether or not we're going to undertake this work. We are going to undertake this work. That's not an issue. Okay. The next slide, please, Joshua. Just again, a little bit of a snapshot of Oasis. Sorry, these slides did actually get mixed around. I should have had this before. Currently, we've got 110 staff on the site. There are several permanent Newman permanent residents in there, 8 currently. And I think our development, it's not, I don't want to say is the largest, is one of the largest single private developments outside of airports and mining companies and main roads in the region. I firmly believe that. I think we're now become one of the larger, it says the largest, it's not right. I think we are one of the larger ratepayers. Specifically, I don't know, but at a rough guess, I think we're relatively significant in terms of our size with the Shire. We do actively support sporting clubs. There's a slide further on that lists all of those. Central's Football Club, the Race Club, the Bloody Slow Club, etc., etc. SES is another one that I can recall off the top of my head. We have our own teams and our staff playing in local teams, so we're very active within the community. Ditto the local church. Ditto supporting the SES. In fact, I had heard that we are the only active members of the SES at the moment. I'm not sure exactly how accurate that is, but we do actively support the SES. So really the picture I'm trying to paint for everybody online today is that we are significant contributors to the Newman community and to the Shire. And look, we're very proud and we're very happy to be so. And it's been a good experience. Next slide, please. Thanks, Joshua. Quick snapshot. We have several areas of development. This block 5 is the one that we're almost complete on. Next slide, please. Thank you. The block and the car park. That's a closer view of what's going on there. Actually, just while I've got this car park up on the screen, this is not just going to be a bitumen, I don't know, area, if you like. There's going to be a significant amount of landscaping in there and lighting, and it's been well thought out. It's actually going to present, really quite nicely. Some larger trees, some lower hedging plants in the various concrete areas at the end of the car parks. You can probably see it marked in black, if you like. There's plenty of crosswalks. There's a lot of safety aspects that have been incorporated into it, and a path on each side of the car park as it goes up and down. You might be able to see it, a very thin line on both sides of where the cars park. They're actually paths with lighting that go up there. So it'll present very well. It's not just a bitumised area. We're trying to make it akin to, I don't know, something you'd find at Bunnings or, a parking area near a sporting venue or something like that. Okay, next slide, please. That's just a closer view. Next slide, please. All right, this is the actual works that we're undertaking with main roads at the entry. You can probably see where our entry joins the main roads, just below that, you can see a shadow of the power pole directly in front of where we come in and out. And you can actually see the 2 wire stays that go down close to the edge of the bitumen in there. So that's the issue. That's the safety issue I'm referring to that's been around for decades. Okay, that's what we're removing. This power pole will go, and I think they're going to sink it underground about 50 metres or 80 metres further up the power line, if you like. And ditto also with the power poles that are just on the northern side of that road. You might see the title of Great Northern Highway. It's just to the left of that. You can see the shadow effect there, if you like. That's going as well. We've got turn-off lanes, an extended turn-off lane to the left. We also have an extended turn-off lane for vehicles turning right as they come from the airport. So as a snapshot for the council to understand what's going on, that's probably the most succinct summary I can give. Okay, next slide, please.
Yeah, I think that's the next slide.
Yeah, that is the next slide. Yeah, it's very similar. Okay, let's skip to the next slide after that, please. Okay, in terms of the car parking, there was originally 635 bays for vehicles. That goes to 683 bays for vehicles. And Malcolm did correct me last night. There's 90, I think it's 96 bays in total because of the additional truck and bus bays. So in total, it comes to, what's the number? 693, I think it was, or something of that nature. So it is an increase in parking, and that's fine. And that is supported by the council, by the officers. No problems with that. This is just this clause that we have an issue with. All right, next couple of slides and we are done. All right, yeah, there's our staff. In fact, they won that volleyball comp twice in a row, I think. Next slide, please. Is that one of the guys that was Father Christmas? I think it was. Yeah, it was. There's some of the some of the clubs that we're supporting within the Newman community. Next slide, please. Look, safety, I cannot understate just how important safety is to us. We have a lot of people here. Safety comes in many, many different forms. And we very actively work on our safety efforts. There's not a day that goes past that there is not an aspect of safety that is focused here. Let's not underestimate that, and hence particularly my desire to get that front entrance sorted out. One thing that I haven't included in this slide is we're currently considering lighting for that intersection. There's a few extra requirements that need to be thought through and satisfied with Main Roads on that one. I'm fully expecting at this point in time that we'll be able to put probably 6 lights, 3 in each direction, and then 1 further light on our entry that comes off Great Northern Highway to light up that area, just again purely for safety. It's not a Main Roads requirement. It's not a council requirement. It's something that we are looking at doing as part of our overall works, in addition to the requirements that do need to be met. All right, that's it for my presentation. So I really tried to summarise our issues in the letter that I've provided to the council, and it really does surround this trigger point, if you like, and the delay of 6 to 9 months for occupancy because we don't have a trigger point. I'm happy to talk about it, happy to discuss it, happy to work something through. It's just that we have not had the opportunity or we're not even aware of the requirement. Well, technically it's not a requirement, of the suggestion that the council would want a trigger point. I think it's probably the right way to describe it. However, we have already undertaken that. So our conclusion is that we request the council to amend the condition to allow staged occupancy prior to the completion of Main Roads amendments to the Great Northern Highway and the Oasis car park. So my second last paragraph in that letter is exactly what we're asking the council to approve, obviously as part of the approval of the amended DA. So that's it from me. Any questions from anybody? More than happy to answer any questions.
It is a deputation, so essentially it's not meant to be a question and answer session, but I'll just bring to your attention an email we received only this morning from Main Roads, which is really important to the conversation we're having today. They've sort of given some update on the conversations you have had with Main Roads. So if folks want to go back one step, then I want to talk about this very quickly, just to put this in the frame. You're talking about a trigger point. It's not a trigger point. It was a condition of the previous DA, actually. If you read the DA previously, it says that prior to occupation, that the intersection or the road had to be done. So that condition is not changing. Council's job today is to decide this on planning principles and planning principles only. Your request of the new DA is around a new car park, absolutely. And actually, because you're having difficulty with the other entrance, to reconfigure this one to make it work. And I think there's more, there may be some more, when you get into detail, issues around stay piles and that type of thing. I think, the issue that we're seeing from council's perspective is that the whole site distances and the lack of a slip lane has been a problem, and that's what's causing the danger. But we did just receive an email this morning, and I'm just trying to listen not too long ago. So they are indicating to us, this is Main Roads, that they were sort of going, okay, we can go with this on the basis that you cannot get access to the further north access because of BHP and the Department of Land and Heritage. Now they're saying that Main Roads are saying, however, after discussing this with the BHP and the Department of Lands and Heritage, it seemed that BHP have previously approved conditional access at the northern point. I'm waiting to hear back from yourselves. But unless they can provide satisfactory reason as to why they cannot move the access further north, I'm looking to withdraw approval for the upgraded intersection in favour of the shared access point further north. Now, it's a little bit late for us to be considering this, but this email, what they're saying is there is a level of dissatisfaction. The previous report that did come up, and Malcolm will correct me if I'm wrong here, Main Roads certainly gave clear direction that they were concerned about that intersection as it stands now, without it being a slip lane. As I said, the conditions before was very much occupation based on the intersection being complete and having safe access for the additional traffic that you are going to be putting through that access point. So don't know much more I can say about that, but that's the reality of it. So we haven't really created trigger points. They were always there, those conditions. And we'll have to, the council, not myself, but the council have to consider this on its merits. Obviously, you've got interpretation of your position. It's up for them to have a give it their own thoughts and see what they think.
Okay, can I just reply, Steve, to that? I obviously haven't received that email. What I do currently have is approval from Main Roads to undertake the work. So again, this is a whole new aspect to me.
Yes, I mentioned this.
However, legally we cannot get access to the north.
Understand.
And there are many components to moving or redesigning, if you like, access to the north. For example, it involves Lot 69, obviously. It involves DPLH, who seem reasonably supportive of it. It involves BHP being the leaseholder. It involves DEWA holding the protected water zone, the P1 protected water zone over the area, along with Main Roads and yourselves. That is a process that will take years to get conclusion.
So I understand that, Mark. So I'm not suggesting that we can move with this, but what I guess I'm flagging with you is that Main Roads are, although they are working with, and they will certainly work upgrading an intersection that was better than what it currently is, are saying their preferred position can be another one. And I get it, and I understand your predicament. I know time is really a problem here. I felt that you were really ambitious last year when the DA went through and you were going to do that other road, because there is so many boxes to tick and get over the line. So it wouldn't have been an easy task, and I thought 12 months was a little ambitious to be at the time. Even getting Aboriginal clearance is in an heritage clearance is in itself not insurmountable. But anyway, I just want to give you that you would have just received that this morning, probably while you're on this call, actually. Right. So, but anyway, just give you the heads up. We received the same information.
Yeah, okay, look, happy to look at it and think about that, but this is the predicament we are now placed in. You know, and well, it's for the councillors to determine. It is recommended to be approved. It's just that one condition from our perspective that would give us the latitude to complete the works, make it all happen, and keep everybody happy. And in reality, what's the negative side of it all? I really can't see too many negatives to the proposal that we put forward.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you very much, Mark. Any further questions? Nope. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
moving on to item 9, applications for leave of absence. Before I go on for mine, is there any other leave, any leave of absence from councillors?
Just give us a second.
Is the OCM going to be in Newman next?
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to put a request in for leave of absence for July's OCM. So can I please get a mover and a seconder for that?
Yeah,
Mover. Yep. As a caller, as a mover, Everett as a seconder. And everyone in favour, please show of hands. Thank you. Thank you very much, all for and none against. Moving on to the item 10, confirmation of minutes of previous council meetings. So minutes for the ordinary council and confidential council meetings have been held on the 24th of May 2024, have been published on the Shire's website and uploaded into the councillor portal to be confirmed as true and correct record of proceedings. Can I move it, please? Councillor Lockyer, thank you. Seconder? Councillor Everett, thank you. Are there any changes that to the minutes that the council members are seeking? No? Okay, I shall now put that to the vote, please. Those in favour? Thank you. All for and none against. Item 11, members' reports. So council members' written reports will be included in the minutes. Are there any further members' reports for this meeting?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
I'm waiting. Yep.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I knew you would be. Yeah, 5th of June, Welga State Council meeting. 6th of June, I had a call from a ratepayer about the Mungina Roy Hill Road. And then that includes phone call and emails around that time. 10th of June, I attended the Scribblers Workshop here at the Marble Bar Library. 11th, had a meeting regarding volunteers at the Marble Bar Races Weekend and Family Day with a volunteer. 12th of June, Council mid-monthly workshop. 14th of June, I had a call, a meeting with a man about a bird watching tour and the opportunity to hold a bird watching festival in Newman and Marble Bar next year. And making a tourism node point of that. 18th of June, Walga State Council selection committee meeting on Teams. 18th of, during the period of the 18th of 20th of June, I had emails and phone call contact with a ratepayer regarding the old Skull Springs Road and the Skull Springs Road. 20th of June, Marble Bar, attended the Marble Bar Primary School NAIDOC celebration by invitation. 21st of June, attended the Wolga Pilbara Country Zone, which I chaired. 22nd of June, I had a phone call with from an officer in Port Hedland asking for me to look after some tourists that were coming out. They weren't Port Hedland, City of Port Hedland, Town of Port Hedland visitors particularly, but it was to do with tourism. 24th of June, I had the Pilbara Development Commission meeting. 25th and 26th of June, I attended the Pilbara Summit 2024 conference in Karratha, and the multiple conversations about developing our region with people. And 28th of June, the corporate session this morning and the OCM. Thanking you.
Thank you. Any other members' reports? Excellent. Moving on to item 12, the officers' reports. So item 12.1.1, the sponsorship 2024 to 2025. The officer recommendation reads that council approve the sponsor. So the officer recommendation reads that council approves the sponsorship as detailed in the agenda, totaling $49,000, excluding GST, subject to council's adoption of the 2024-25 annual budget. Can I get a mover, please? Yep, Councillor Baird.
Oh, no.
Seconder, Councillor Everett. Thank you.
Excuse me, Anthony. Lee has left the room.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Councillor Bear is the mover. Would you like to speak on this one? Thank you. Councillor Everett is the seconder. Any other councillor wish to speak? Okay, should I put this one to the vote, please? All those in favour, raise your hand, please. Councillor Roberta Brooks, have you frozen? Okay, thank you. Got you. All for and none against. Thank you. If you can let Lee know to return and someone.
No, she's staying.
Oh, no.
Stay.
Okay, cool.
This is another one. This is the second one.
Possibly. I vote in favour. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it would appear that Nullagine frozen too.
Lee can come back in though, Wendy.
Yeah, I'll call him back in immediately. Can I ask too? I think Lou declared 12.1.1 and she really meant 12.1.2.
I think that's what she meant actually. But yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we'll
No,
continue.
she has one for both because she's part of the East Pilbara Race Club.
One for both. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, 12.1.2, the sponsorship request Newman Vets Football Club. So the office recommendation reads that council approves the sponsorship request from Newman Vets Football Club totaling $10,000 excluding GST in recognition of the community benefits that are expected to be gained from the event and subject to council's approval for the 2024-25 annual budget. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Everett, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Roberta Brooks. Thank you. Councillor Everett, would you wish to speak? Councillor Roberta Brooks, would you wish to speak?
No, thank you.
Okay. I do wish to speak if there's anybody else. No one is supposed to speak. So just bear in mind that this was accepted, this was applied for late. We have, as council, rejected applications before that have come in late. I just want everybody to consider that in their consideration.
I think we need to be consistent if we have done that before. So
I have a question about that because it seems that we have a lot of applications that are coming in late based on our guidelines that we've set. Because I think this is maybe the third, because we had the NCCI last year, and then I think one of the junior sporting clubs I think applied for a in-kind maybe that was late and we rejected as well. I'm just wondering if maybe our policy's not meeting the mark for our community groups, or is it just that these applications are coming in late?
Yes. So if I can just speak through the chair. So if you remember back at when we were discussing it in the previous year, and the policy refers to a guideline, and the guideline we've actually put in place, and council at the time were saying 8 weeks, and the idea for the 8-week period wasn't to be difficult. It was so that we could actually adequately process it. So you lodge it, then we've got to go through the process. We've got to look at all the bits and pieces, and then get to a council meeting. The problem is getting it to a council meeting. So even if, like, we need, you literally need the week before we have this council meeting to actually get it to you, to the councillors. We've got to get the council papers done a week and a half to 2 weeks prior to that. It's around timing. So it really only gives our officers initially 4 weeks to get your application and process it. And that was the issue when it got really, really late. Then we had to put in late papers and so forth. So in this particular instance, it was 7 weeks instead of the 8. So it does breach our guidelines, definitely. We managed to get it processed, I will say, in the 7 weeks. It's not always possible, but we did actually get it processed in 7 weeks. And our process is relatively rigid, and we make sure that, one, that they're compliant with the basic requirements, and then any additional information required, give the person putting it in time to rectify it. And then from then it goes through a panel against the principles of which the grants and sponsorship is against, and then we write the council paper. That, just by way of background, that's the process. and you're right, it's 7, not 8, and it is a breach on that basis, but it's in your hands.
I just think it's important that it's flagged that it was late, and we as council have historically rejected previous grants that were late on that grounds. So just wanted to make everyone understand that on their decision today.
I think we need to be consistent. If we keep changing, where does it end?
Good. That's the reason why I wanted to bring it up, because
Can I, excuse me. No, you go.
Does it actually flag that it's late, or like, I would think that's whether it makes it to the minutes or not, or to the agenda, sorry, or not, is more to the point, isn't it? Not.
Yes. Yeah.
Probably
So,
aside.
we certainly, if an application is late, we will flag it. We are applying the principle, and look, technically speaking, we could have just said it breaches the policy, therefore don't do it. We made the recommendation because we will actually put it in the ring for your discussion. I think it's really important because this is an important event to this town in terms of the impact it has. At the same time, it's breach. So you just have to work out morally which way you want to go on this, and that's why we're putting it to you to decide. Actually,
I mean, we are not arguing whether it's important or not. It's
no.
It's just the time frame is not right.
Yeah. Yes, Malwa.
I'm concerned that we haven't got a rigorous enough process at the administration end, because the administration should be able to say, I'm sorry, it's late. It breaches guidelines. This should not come to us to be the gatekeeper on whether the application meets the guidelines or not. You know, it should be that the officers are saying when they get it, I'm sorry, you're 2 days late. Barleys, we cannot, reschedule if you really need this amount of money, reschedule your event so that it falls within the guidelines. I mean, people can't keep doing this to us, but I don't think it's our responsibility because this is operational. This is not strategic.
Look, we just put up, because the only reason, and look, I don't disagree, we can certainly be hard-nosed about it and not even bring it to council. We do, generally speaking, though, if something, all grants that are submitted or sponsorships that are submitted, we will bring them even if they've been rejected to council. So we honestly could have had a recommendation set. We rejected on time frames, and you could have overturned your own policy if that suited you to do so. But essentially, everyone that gets accepted or rejected is taken to council. But certainly we can change our practice if it doesn't meet the guidelines that we rejected. But keeping in mind, there's two things here. There's a guideline and there's a policy. The policy says there will be a guideline. The guideline is created and although we brought it to council for consideration at the time, a guideline would normally be done by the administration. So then you lose. Sorry, you're right. Sorry, Wendy.
Yes, I'm saying it defeats the purpose of having a policy, because if the policy says we're going to make the job easy for our staff, essentially by saying this is the guideline, this is the cut-off so that we can get it to a meeting, then we need to educate our public and give them some brief on how to apply. Now, I think this is right outside where we should be doing. We should be acting. We should not be acting to say we will forgive the guideline again and again and again. So I think we need to make the policy more rigorous, communicate that with our stakeholders and say, you were late, we don't. In this instance, it's obvious that the proponent can flaunt it, has flaunted it often enough, and the community at large have ignored the guideline and have been encouraged to because they get their grant processed. So if we're wanting to tighten up the guideline to make it possible for our staff to do things in a routine and timely manner, we need to enforce the guideline, but not if it's going to come to council. I believe we have no choice but to accept this application, to give them their $10,000 and then to put in place a rigorous education policy for people who are making applications, even to the point of anticipating where the applications might come from and then letting them know in advance, you have to be your application must be in 8 weeks in advance and then holding them to it. So they're going to need some hand holding for a start, but we can't keep insulting our staff by allowing these late applications to come in.
So certainly to your, Councillor, through the chair, to your point, we certainly can, we do education around sponsorships. We can certainly send a letter out to all those people that we are aware of that may be looking for sponsorships and put something on our webpage to that point. I do know in this particular case, this particular event was actually struggling in terms of organising. It's no excuse, it's just the fact. And that's the reason this one was probably late because they've applied late on the basis they got involved late. That being said, though, there's no, in relation to our staff, and yes, they're working hard at trying to get this stuff to you, whether it's a fail or an acceptance or a non-acceptance of the grant. We can certainly write a letter out to re-educate those that may be looking for money to make sure they do get it within the 8-week period, and that we will be more stringent moving forward. Absolutely, and that's not a bad idea.
And there is no reason why, and I'll pick this event, there is no reason why this event can't put their application in for next year's event this week. And then they've got it. They know that they can draw on it and it's in our budget.
Yeah. My take on this sort of stuff is that the guidelines, there should be some flexibility allowed for certain community events that benefit the community as well. This is probably 1 week late, and the paperwork and the process hasn't been completed. So I can't see why it should not be accepted at this stage.
Yes.
Did you have something, Lee, before Peter? Sorry. Lee, did you have something?
Yeah, I do.
I know you had something, but they both had their hands up first. So I'm giving Lee an opportunity first, and then I'll go to yourself.
Sure.
I'm fine. That's right.
Thank you. Peter.
Okay. So can I understand, was it the application that was late, or was it the submission of paperwork that was late? Because it talks about paperwork being missing and that they were supplied after they were made aware.
No, both, Peter. So
Both?
yes, essentially, it was the actual application was late, and then we worked very close. Well, we worked to try and get all the paperwork that we needed, and as we do with all applicants, and additional information we might require, so we can either get it to say yes or no. Yep.
And with other grant applications in other categories, we get a little breakdown where it tells us how much the project is costing and how much they've requested. I haven't seen that document here, and I know that, like as David Everett said, that we need to consider some flexibility. And I think when we considered one of the ones that we rejected last year for being late, the budget for that event was quite hefty, and most of it was already covered, like the amount that we were being requested. So my question is, with this event, what is the budget that's being requested from us versus the whole, like, if we reject it, what are the impacts on this event? Whereas, which is the same thing we considered when we rejected the one last year, was what is going to be the impact on the event if we were to reject it? Because in the report that we've been given by administration, it says council may determine applications that fall outside of the guidelines where it considers that it is in the public interest to do so. And the recommendation that we've got from the officers is to approve the sponsorship request in recognition of the community benefits. So do we have that document that outlines the request information that we normally get? And is that something we should be considering, what the impact for this event will be?
Look, I don't have the form here with me, Peter, but I do know that it was processed on the base, and we could probably. Can you just ask and see if you got it there?
I've just asked for it.
Can we just get? I can tell you. We can probably what I can tell you though is if I can get the number of Steve Gould, Steve who did the assessment of this. What the total cost of the project will be versus the $10,000 they're asking for. Can give you that information relatively straightforward.
I've requested it. And if I can just add, the team have done the assessment, and in terms of assessment, aside from the time guideline, it was deemed to be it assessed well. ultimately. And so that's why the recommendation that the officers have put up is in that. There is also nothing in the current policies. There's just a couple of things around the policy that's been discussed quite a lot that I just want to flag with you. The timeframe that is referenced is in the guidelines. It is not in the council policy. And the policy is actually due for review. So you adopted it in June 2023 on the basis that it would be reviewed after 12 months. So we are actually also likely, just for everyone's context, to be bringing forward review of that particular policy.
So can I just get someone to go into Steve Gould's office and ask him how much the total cost of this project is, please?
I've just sent it to him.
Yeah, they could someone just walk in and ask him. It's just around the corner. That would be good, thank you.
I don't discredit the benefit to the community at all. I think it's just important that we flag if we are running a hard line around, and we have done for the last couple of years around lake emissions and the like, that we probably need to serious consideration around consistency. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I'm sort of driving at. We can't, keep changing. Once we are, we have decided in the past, what's the difference?
And I don't disagree, Peter, either that, there was a laundry list last year for that one and it was just everything. But, it's still a principle of following the right guidelines, I suppose.
But there is that reason that we do discuss and make these decisions is to decide and determine whether or not we are happy to provide that flexibility. And if it's 1 week, it's not that they've been super late, and we need to consider the individual circumstances of each event, because again, that's what we did with the one last year. And we made those. Sorry, I'm in Perth. I'm freezing, so I'm shivering a little bit. But we assessed. We didn't just say it was late, too bad. We went and we had these similar discussions last year and looked at the individual facts of that situation, including the fact that that was submitted by paid employment versus a volunteer organisation. And I think another sort of perspective on that event was the other event was a paid private event versus the Vets football match, which is a public display that is, quite well received in town and quite well attended. So.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And however, there is a ticketed private event afterwards as well. Yeah. It's understanding of what that funding, what this $10,000 is for as well, which is what you've already asked for, because that may be the venue hire for that. So that is a private event. And yes, you've got the public event with the game initially, but what is this $10,000 for? So, yeah.
I mean, I do know it covers things like flying up the stars, I suppose, of the show. It covers those sort of costs, and I guess some of probably the basic setup fees. I do know that part, but the details, even the process, I wasn't involved in that process. But I do think this thing about the rigidity is a real question, and that's why this one we certainly erred on the side of, well, it's not far, but it is outside. But let's let the councils have a think about what they want to do with that, because there is a big impact. If it was a low impact event, be very easy just to say no straight up without even, that would be our strong recommendation. This one, obviously, it's reputation to the Shire, but at the same time, it is outside. So, and you pick 2 months, you pick 7 weeks, or you pick 9 weeks. We pick it for a reason. So, how rigid you want to be on that date, because it's really important from the officer's point of view. If you just want to say reject every time it's over 8 weeks, or less than the 8 week period, we're happy to do that. We just really would like a direction on it. But this one here we thought was a little bit circumstantial. I understand where it came from. It would have been nice if it was another week earlier than that. Taking it down the last line is really difficult, but we did try and get a process so you can make a decision. But certainly not trying to put the councillors in a position of making a decision around something like this, but it's an important event, but it does breach the guidelines that we all sort of talked about. That's all. That's what we're doing.
And I still think there needs to be some form of flexibility for certain events as well. Important.
All right. I still think it's an operational thing. If it makes it to the agenda, it's made it to the agenda. I'm not sure. So the guideline is there to protect as Councillor McWhirter Brooks mentioned, that it's to protect the staff that's processing it all and giving them enough time to actually get it into the agenda. If it made it to the agenda, then I'm not sure what the real big issue is.
Give some data for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and Nicola's going to give you the information, Peter.
Okay, so the total application, so the total budget that they're actually looking to run the event is $36,000, and the contribution that they're looking for from the Shire of East Pilbara is $10,000. They're also seeking some money. They're expecting $6,000 of income as part of that $36,000 total budget to come from merchandise, $5,000 to come from tickets, and the remaining to come from other corporate sponsorship in order to actually be able to run the event.
It's important money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
If $11,000 of that money is going to come from work that they have to put in order to sell merchandise and sell tickets, that $10,000 is going to be pretty significant to that event. And
Cool. Enough discussion. Anyone else got anything? Okay. So, thanks for that. Yeah, thanks for seeking that information. Appreciate that. So we'll start off first. Who is for the grant to go forward? 1, 2, 3. Oliver.
Annabelle. Annabelle's not voting. Yep.
Yeah, all for and none against.
Awful. Yeah, good.
I'm going to let Lou know to come back in. I do it.
So 7 weeks isn't a problem, but if there is a problem with the timeliness of grants getting in, we need to make sure that our stakeholders know, that our applicants know that, our community knows that.
No, we'll send a letter out to reinforce that as well. And yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing to do.
Yeah, cool. Cool.
So it's just that we know it, they don't know it, so it's also good for us to make it really clear that there is no we know. So
yeah.
Moving on to 12.1.3, the Community Grants Program 2024-25. As presented before you, the Office recommendation reads that Council approves the community grants as detailed in the agenda totalling $40,000 excluding GST, pending the endorsements for the 2024-25 financial budget. The Council approves the community grants as detailed in the agenda totalling $40,000 excluding GST, pending the endorsement of the 2024-25 annual financial budget. Can I please get a mover? Yep, Councillor Bear, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Everett, thank you. Councillor Bear, do you wish to speak?
We've left late.
Councillor Bear, do you wish to speak? Sorry.
yeah, actually I will. I just had one question on the Pilbara for Purpose ADHD training in Newman. I haven't really seen Pilbara for Purpose operating in Newman before, other than when they've run their community award thing last year or the year before. Do they have a permanent office in Newman? Are they operating permanently in Newman, or is this activity that they're bringing into town and then leaving again?
I do not believe that they currently have a permanent office based in Newman at this point in time, Peter.
Okay.
We are in negotiations, I guess, just further to that, with a number of agencies to try and actually encourage them to have more permanent offices in Newman rather than be coming in and providing services. But ultimately, this is an application to come in and provide service.
I've only heard of them once, but they know about it. Sorry, go ahead.
And the total project cost for that is $11,600, and they've requested funding of $10,000. So was that $1,600 that they're contributing, just their probably administrative wages? So we're paying for the entire. They've requested us to pay for the entire cost of that project, and then we're only supporting 7.5. That's still a significant portion of that. That training that they're offering that we're actually supplying and paying for.
Is that
sort of like
more
about an organisation that's coming in and then we're paying for the whole cost of the project?
It does mean it's just whether like I mean, I guess there's two elements. This is about money that they contribute, money we contribute, and there's other bits about speciality that they contribute. Yeah, it would mean it meets our guidelines. Otherwise, it would have gone through to this stage because it goes through scrutiny at the start, and then it goes through the process of the group going through it separately, and then that's when it gets to you. So it's gone through that, and it's ticked all the boxes. Yeah, policy it applies. It's just whether in principle you want to do it. That's the question.
No, I don't disagree. I think it's good. I think it's a good call out though, Peter. Is that what are these people actually putting in their own pocket? First and foremost, if we're covering most of it, it's a valid point. Sorry, Luke.
Oh,
sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, I think even whether they're a permanent fixture here or not, it's a worthy type training. But I'm just really concerned around the uptake of this type of training, because I know the amount of services that visit Newman, and there's very minimal people that actually attend. And it's always the last minute. And Peter, you would know, obviously, running things through the centre, how hard it is to get people, especially this. So do they have the context of running something in Newman to be able to take on that as how they're doing? And it's not about telling them how to do it. I just, if it is, like Peter said, a big chunk of what they're offering is based on a grant.
So further your comment, Councillor, for clarity, we don't look at whether we try to look at success, but we don't go into the ins and outs of all of that. We go on the principles and so forth.
Yeah.
But you're 100% correct. Will they get their 10s? Are they marketing as well? Will there be participants? That's it.
But this is why we're here, right? Because we have that context, because we are obviously we live and breathe this stuff.
Absolutely.
So anyway.
Yeah, if I look up this training, it looks like it's being run through ADHD WA, so it's not that Pilbara for Purpose is the specialist and they're wanting to provide it and they have the evidence to support it. Like, I'm not saying that it's not supported. I think it's a program that would probably be needed, but the Newman community is pretty poor at uptaking programs and activities just generally. And so we're almost fully funding a project that do they have the client base to support? How are they going to be building up the attendance for it when we're basically funding most of that project? So I don't know if I'm super comfortable with funding that project at the moment. Again, without really seeing that Pilbara for Purpose has the base to support that and push that and drum up the enrolments.
I support the application. I just have concerns around whether or not it would get that take up. But is there a way, like, obviously, is this under grants or is it, do they have a guideline around whether or not they meet their obligations?
They meet the guidelines, and they've got to do a acquittal. But the acquittal is very simple. We turned up and we run it. This is our cost bills. If you're concerned about that, and and I think it's a reasonable concern, we can add a line, which would put it back on me, but that's okay, saying that the CEO to final approval on that particular one, on the grounds of finding out what their plan is, their participation, how they're going to promote it and so forth, and if it's going to attract the people, have they got a plan and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
we can condition it, you know what I mean?
It's more like the training itself, I think, would be beneficial to this town because there are so many families that need support service in this space. So I don't want to, and that's who we're here to service, right? It's our community. So I do believe in supporting it,
yes,
but I have concerns around their ability to deliver.
Yeah, I agree.
Does that make sense?
But do we?
And I don't want to reject it because of assumptions that our community doesn't show up to things like that.
No, I know.
Exactly.
I think it's
An opportunity what they've done to promote it.
Yeah.
an opportunity to work with them closely around their promotion of the event to try and gain, because I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a good event. It's a good event for the community to have. You don't want to discredit on that matter, but How about we work with them, or the administration work with them, try and drum up more business?
Because we work with a lot of agencies anyway that would cross-section in this space, right? So how can we elevate their training then?
And you want them to come here.
Yeah.
You want them to be interested in Newman. So like, if I can make a suggestion that you just add an additional line saying that the CEO requests Pilbara for purpose to provide a marketing plan to the satisfaction of council. That way they'll give us one, and then we can go, yeah, it's fine, and you've given approval in principle, because your concern is not about whether we should do it, it's whether or not they'll get people there.
We put it back on their plate and see what they say.
If they don't provide a marketing plan, well then I'll do a ring around.
Yeah.
I'm going to make the decision myself. I'll get a ring around and I'll say it's good.
So, Peter, you happy with that as the mover?
Yes, please. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Cool. So, as written there, additionally with the CEO to ask them for their management, their marketing plan. Happy with that?
It would be nice to find out what the uptake was after the event.
Absolutely.
Yeah, ask for that as part of the equitable.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Absolutely equitable.
Yep. Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you. Any further discussion before we put it to a vote?
Just a question around, is it Doer Drive Newman?
Is it?
Is that what they call it? Doer? Doer Group?
Doer Group, is that?
Doer Group?
Yeah.
What? That's just subsidised driver training and education, yes? Do we not already have? We
dismantled the ride program, right?
Yeah, so the issue that we're having with driving instruction and so forth is you need a driving instructor. Yeah. And that's why that program really struggled to get off the ground. These people obviously going to have a crack at trying to do this.
They have been operating in other parts of the region quite successfully, as we understand it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you are correct. We did have the ride program grant, but we actually couldn't find the volunteers. So Do a Drive have the people, and therefore are putting forward to us. It's a relatively small amount in respect to their total project cost of $53,000, and the general feeling was that if it reduced barriers to actually enable people to get driver's licenses, that would be a success from a community point of view.
I support this 100%. I think the barrier at the moment is having tests available for PDA, like PDA tests available right now. If someone was to book something, I think until end of August, because of they offer one a day. That's it. So then this is a transport issue, right? But it's not the train. I don't think it's the training people that's the issue. It's that getting them that license and qualification at the end of it, and that's Department of Transport. So if they can help alleviate that, or even help boost that, then fully support it, because there's so many people in town that are waiting, and they've gone Tom Price, Meekatharra, everywhere else, but to get their license.
I think it's an important call out. I was talking to Ashburn Aboriginal Company the other day, and it's the same thing. They've got 3 or 4 months you've got to wait before you can book in to get your license.
And they provide the same sort of training as well, and opportunities and barrier removal for Indigenous, community members. But this is going to be open to all communities, I'm assuming. So,
Cool. Excellent. Any further comments on this one?
Can I I'm just asking, is it really $466,000 for the Marble races as their total project? Or was that a typo?
No, that would be right.
Yeah.
Because you've got to be security and everything.
It's a big event.
Okay.
The bar stuff and all that things that go.
Right, all right.
It's big. It's just why that, in previous years it's been, can it go or not, because it's a lot of money. Someone's got to pay.
Yes. No, I just thought that was a typo. I was like, what?
No.
That's more than Newman races, but okay, cool.
Okay, cool. So, no further questions. So she'll put 12.1 and 0.3 to the vote, please. All those in favour, please raise their hands. Thank you. And none against. Does someone want to give
they're going to be doing bonus.
Yes.
They're taking off.
That's the running bonus.
What you go to the point ones and going?
No, they're in the CRC. You might ring Wendy direct.
Have you got their number, Josh? CRC number?
Brent's just got my phone.
Are we clear to come back in?
Yeah, you are. Good. He's
Clear.
listening.
Thank you.
We lost our chair.
Yeah, just for a second. Carpet break.
I'm absolutely freezing here, and it's still cold in Newman.
Yeah, it's not hot.
I had to go get a doona because I'm shivering so much.
It's actually cold here today too.
On 12.1.4, the status council decisions as presented before you, the council notes the report. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Brooks, thank you. And a seconder.
Yep.
Yep. Councillor Lockyer. Councillor Brooks, you wish to speak?
No, thank you.
Councillor Lockyer?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Anybody else wish to speak? A show of hands for this one, please. All those in favour? Yep, that's everybody. Thank you. Box for this one. Okay. So 12.2.1, the annual budget 2024-2025. As presented before you, the officer recommendation reads that Council, 1, pursuant to section 5.98, 5.98A and 5.99 of Local Government Act 1995, the Shire of East Pilbara elected members' annual fees and allowances to be set within the prescribed amounts as determined by the Salaries and Allowances Tribunal under section 7B of the Salaries and Allowances Act 1975, paid monthly in arrears follows. A council meeting fees of $25,137 per councillor. President's meeting fee $33,706. A communication allowance per annum of $3,500 to all councillors and the Shire President. D, a presidential allowance of $68,552 per annum. And E, a deputy presidential allowance of $17,138 per annum. 2, pursuant to section 6.16 of the Local Government Act 1995, adopts the Shire of East Pilbara Schedule of Fees and Charges 2024-2025, including Appendix 1. 3, pursuant to section 6.32 and 6.33 of the Local Government Act 1995, adopts a differential general rates in the dollar and minimums for the 2024-2025 financial year as detailed in the agenda. 4, pursuant to section 6.38 of the Local Government Act 1995, imposes a service charge for the provision of CCTV in public areas for property surveillance and security of $62 on all properties within the defined Newman Town area, with the exception of vacant properties. 5, pursuant to section 41 of the Health Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1911, imposes a serious charge of $0.026 on the gross rental value of all properties within the defined Newman Town area. 6, pursuant to section 6.47 Local Government Act 1995, resolves to grant rating exemptions for community and charitable purposes as detailed in Appendix 2. 7, pursuant to section 6.45 of the Local Government Act 1995 and Regulation 64(2) of the Local Government Financial Management Regulations 1996, sets the following due dates for payments in full by instalments. Full payments and first instalments due date 21 August 2024. Secondary quarterly instalment due 7 November 2024. Third quarterly instalment due 7 January 2025. Fourth quarterly instalment due 11 March 2025. 8, pursuant to section 6.45 of the Local Government Act 1995 and Regulation 67 of Local Government Financial Management Regulations 1996, imposes an instalment administration charge of $6 per instalment after the initial instalment is paid, where the ratepayer has elected to pay rates and service charges through the instalment option. 9 pursuant to section 6.45 of the Local Government Act 1995 and Regulation 68 Local Government Financial Management Regulation 1996 imposes an interest rate of 5.5% where the owner has elected to pay rates and the service charges through the instalment option. 10 grants a waiver for the instalment interest rate for eligible pensioners and seniors. 11 pursuant to section 6.511 of the and subject to 6.544 of the Local Government Act 1995 and Regulation 70 of the Local Government Financial Management Regulation 1996 imposes an interest rate of 7% for rates and charges that remain unpaid after becoming due and payable. 12 pursuant to section to Regulation 53 of the Building Regulations 2012 imposes a swimming pool inspection fee of $58.45, including GST, on each owner of land on which there is a swimming pool for the 2024-25 financial year. 13 pursuant to section 6.2 of the Local Government Act 1995 and Local Government Financial Management Regulations 1996 Part 3 Regulation 22 to 33 adopts the following annual budget for the financial year ending 30 June 2025 as per Appendix 3. A, budget statement of comprehensive income by nature or type. B, budget statement of cash flow. C, statement of financial activity budget. D, note to the annual budget including statement of rating information. And E, schedule of fees and charges for 2024-2025. 14 pursuant to Regulation 34.5 of the Local Government Financial Management Regulations 1996 and the AASB 1031 materiality adopts the materiality to be used in the statements of financial activity in 2024-25 for reporting material variance of being 10% or $20,000 for operating and 10% or $50,000 for capital, whichever is higher, and 15 authorised chief executive officer to effect to design and publication of size published 2024-25 annual budget. Can I get a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Lockyer. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Cooler. Councillor Lockyer, did you wish to speak?
No, but just big thank you to the staff, obviously, for getting all of this done. I know it was a bit tight, but yeah, appreciate the effort that's been put in and also the details that are brought to us as well, and I guess the opportunity to discuss prior to. So thank you.
Thank you.
There's nothing to add then.
Anybody else wish to speak on this one? No? Excellent, thank you. I shall now put 12.2.1 to the vote, please. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Absolute majority required. And that is everybody. Thank you. All for and none against. Moving on to 12.2.2, monthly financial statements, insurance and investment report, May 2024. The Council adopts the monthly financial statements for the period ending 31 May 2024, the 2023-2024 financial year included as appendices 1 and 2 to the report. Can I get a mover, please? Yep, Councillor Lockyer. Seconder, please. Yep, Councillor Cooler. Councillor Lockyer, you wish to speak? Councillor Lockyer, you wish to speak?
No, I said sorry.
Oh, sorry. Councillor Cooler?
Nothing to it.
Excellent, thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak? And 12.2.2 to the vote, please. All those in favour? That's everybody, thank you. Well, none against, we move on. 12.2.3, list of payments to 30 May 2024. The Council endorses the payments for the period of 1 May 2024 to 31 May 2024 as detailed in the agenda. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Lockyer. Seconder. Councillor Cooler, thank you. Would the mover like to speak? Seconder like to speak?
No, nothing.
Anybody wish to speak? Thank you. 12.2.3 to the vote, please. All those in favour? Everybody, thank you. All for and none against. 12.2.4, the payment of 2024-25 insurance premiums. The Council, 1, notes the increase in cost for the Shire insurance premiums, and 2, authorise the payment of $1,984,206.12, excluding GST, in 2 equal instalments to LGIS for the Shire's insurance policy premiums. Can I get a mover? Councillor Cooler. Seconder, Councillor Everett. Councillor Cooler, you wish to speak?
No, nothing to add. Insurance is insurance.
It's deep, but yes. Councillor Everett.
19,000.
You had a 19,000.
And then when you said, I was like, oh, please.
You know, add a few Got a few on the end. Anybody else wish to speak?
No, but we need insurance.
We're all flabbergasted. We're all
We
flabbergasted.
need it.
Right. So raise hands for all those in favour, please. All for, thank you. No against. .3.1 Nullagine Sports Courts official naming. That Council 1 approves the official name of Nullagine Rage Cage, also known as Nullagine Sports Courts, as Urukadji Sport Courts. 2, notes the Shire will undertake language signage at the site in Palku, Madu and English. And 3, thanks all of the students at Nullagine Primary School, community members and the Palku Jatai Aboriginal Corporation for their assistance in the development of the name for the sports courts. Can we get a mover, please? Councillor Lockyer, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Avery. Councillor Lockyer, you wish to speak?
No, but we might just need some, what is it? Pronunciation lessons.
Assistance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does have broken down in brackets and stuff.
No, that's good.
You're in Cudgeons. I was quite happy because I could say it. I was a bit worried about saying it. You're in Cudgeons.
Is it G'day or Gudgy?
We'll get a final check.
Can we get a bit of an education session, please? Salute. Councillor Avery.
Looks good.
Anybody else wish to speak? Thank you. Shall now put 12.3.1 to the vote, please. All those in favour, raise your hand. That's all for and none against. Thank you. 12.4.1, the development application P014/24, modification to existing development approval extensions of use not listed, workforce accommodation, lot 44, Great Northern Highway, Newman Oasis at Newman. The office recommendation reads that council grants development approval in accordance with clause 68(2)(b) of the deemed provisions for local planning schemes, subject to the following conditions and advice notes detailed in the agenda. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Lockyer, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Bear, thank you. Councillor Lockyer, do you wish to speak?
No. I'm just sorry, my screen's dropped out. I'm having issues with reading the last couple of pages on that report. Oh, Jesus. No, I think obviously you don't want to disregard any type of, I guess, upgrades that do happen, but for the safety of our community members and also, you know, people on our roads, just want to acknowledge that that entranceway isn't the best on a good day. So I really think that we need to emphasize the lighting on there and the signage, and that there's obviously a lot of, that's just the driveway side of things, but the development itself to be considered really favourably for our community, but also for what they're bringing as well, because we aren't getting much more investment in our community from this type of development. But I am very cautious of where they're putting it and why we have these conditions in place. So, yeah, we appreciate the work that's been put in as well from our building people and planning. But
thank you. Councillor Bear, you wish to speak?
Yeah, I just want to echo some of the comments by Councillor Lockyer. Obviously, the reasons that we put some of the conditions we did in place is because that intersection has proven to not be super comfortable when you come around it. And so it is super important that, yeah, lighting and signage becomes very, very important as we go forward, so that that is a safe space, especially when you're intending to bring in, obviously, more patrons. I will just add that I was a little bit disappointed in the deputation at the beginning to see that the workforce is made up of less than 10% local Newman residents. It's great to see that you invest in the town, but if your workforce is made up of less than 10% local, then, you know, you're not really bringing good employment opportunities into our community. So just a bit of feedback that it would be nice to see some more investment into the employment side and giving some more opportunities to our local residents. But that's all from me.
Any, excuse me, any other councillor wish to speak?
I'd just like to say that I believe the upgrades to the intersection there needs to be a fire for the safety of the road use.
Yep. Thank you. Any other councillor wish to speak? Okay, thank you. So now put 12.4.1 to the vote, please. All those in favour, please raise your hand. All for and none against. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 13, committee reports, there is nil. 14, motions which previous notice has been given, none. There is no questions by members for which due notice has been given. And there is also no new business of urgent nature introduced by decision of council. Item 17, confidential matters. Sorry, yes.
Sorry, Anthony, can I just ask the council, in the committee reports, do you want to put in there a report back from the Pilbara Country Zone?
It's not a council committee, would be my only comment to that. So there's no issue, Wendy, if you want to include it somewhere. We can't put it into a bulletin or something else like that, but I wouldn't put it in this particular section because these are committees of council, not committees that we are on. If that makes sense.
Okay. But yeah, that being the question, is that the committees that we are on, if there are issues, that we should have an update, because we do represent the Shire on a variety of external committees. So I just wanted, that's just one for how we are set up. Do we want to hear about what's going on, or do members want to hear about what's going on the committees that we have an input to? It's just, to be considered at a later time.
Members' reports or corporate session. Yeah, or corporate members' reports or corporate session.
Those minutes are shared by email anyway to us. So yes. Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
So we have access to them.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool.
Do you get Pilbara Development Commission minutes? Do you get Regional Road Group minutes? All that sort of stuff?
We can obviously the PDC ones.
Not the PD, but that we used to.
So look, through the chair, I'm quite happy if I get a copy of any of those minutes to report to all councillors as through the administration, so all councillors do get them. I'm okay with that. If we can do that, yep.
Yeah, good.
That's good.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Happy with that, Wendy?
Thank you. Yes, very. That's perfect.
Okay. Moving on to 17, confidential matters behind closed doors. Council members, may I please have a mover and second at item 17.1.1, the deed of extension of lease Bayswater Road Proprietary Limited trading as Aero Logistics. 17.1.2, award of tender RFT 13-2023-24, provision of aircraft prohibiting facilities and lease Mumsla Airport. 17.2.1, request to write off outstanding sundry debtor. 17.2.2, request to write off rates. 17.3.1, award of tender RFT 10-2023-24, pre-qualified supplier panel trade services, separate proportions of the agenda be dealt with behind closed doors in accordance with section 5.232 of Local Government Act 1995. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Everett, seconder. Councillor Cooler. Thank you. I shall now put this one to the vote, please. All those in favour to go behind closed doors? Excellent. Thank you. Open to the public. Can the government staff confirm the live streaming has commenced, please?
Yes.
Thank you. For the benefit of watching the live stream and those, just as council made the following decisions during the decision. The deed of extension, 7.1.1, deed of extension of lease of Bayswater Road Proprietary Limited Air Logistics with resolution, all in favour and none against. 17.1.2, award of tender RFT 13-2023-24, provision of aircraft fueling facilities and lease park by airport was passed, all for and none against. 17.2.1, request to write off outstanding sundry debtors was passed, all for, none against. 17.2.2, the request to write off rates was also passed, all for and none against. Additionally, so was 17.3.1, the award of tender RFT 2010-2023-24 pre-qualified supplier panel trade services separate portions. These decisions shall be incorporated in the minutes of today's meeting and published on the Shire's website for the community and general public to be confirmed on the 26th of July 2024 Ordinary Council meeting.
Mr. President, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry to intervene. Councillor Chapman isn't at the meeting at the moment. He has been, he's stuck at the moment. He's safe and fine, but he has asked whether council might consider a leave of absence for him in the circumstances.
Is that forward? Yes. Everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Yes. All those in favour, raise of hands.
We'll just need a mover and seconder.
I'll leave it.
Yep, Councillor Lockyer. Seconder, yep. Got Councillor Everett as a seconder, and that's for leave of absence for. Cool, no dramas. Thank you. Moving on to 18, date of next meeting is 26 July 2024 and be held in the Newman Council Chambers. And 19, there being no further business, I now declare the Shire of East Pilbara Ordinary Council meeting 28 June 2024 closed at 12:32 p.m. Also thank council members and Shire staff for their attendance. Thank you.